Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. Today's guest joins me from Pomona, California. I actually met him and his band when I went to go see one of his shows with Christopher Carrillo from Kubrick's Island. Him and his band have put out a new EP about a month ago called For Those in Misery. Please welcome Sin Passion.
I have this Zoom account hooked up to my school page, so it has like my full ass legal name on it.
I was like, whoa, who's Jose?
I don't know. It's my secret. You know my absolute secret, which is my legal name, like Harley.
Damn. I think like Ciara and Arelli don't even know your
Yeah,
full
well, they
name.
they for sure don't. Yeah.
Oh, well, I won't say anything. I won't. Like, spoiler alert, you find out at the end of the episode. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Stay tuned to find out his real name at the end.
Text his real name to this number and you'll get a prize. Meet and greet.
No, no.
So, you released a new EP a month ago. Did you know it's going to be a month tomorrow, actually?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, I checked right before I came in. So, it's called For Those in Misery. And how did it feel to finally put it out?
It was. I think it felt great. Mainly because like the first song on the EP, perhaps better things will follow. Like that song is really old. Like it's one of the first songs I've ever written for Sin Passion, and we always just use it like as an intro for our shows. We just open up the shows with that song. We never recorded it, and then when we were writing this EP, I was like, we should kind of throw it in there finally and record it. It's really old.
So, were the other two songs older as well, or did you write them kind of recently?
Yeah, I mean, I'll Be at Your Altar is also fairly old, probably like over a year old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then perhaps Better Things Will Follow is maybe like 2 years old. And then Ran Fairy song, the last one, that one's fairly new. We wrote it like while we were planning the EP.
So, was there a reason why you wanted to put this EP out now with three songs that are from kind of completely different eras of your life?
Because that they were just who was next in line, I guess. Like, it's safe to say that like the stuff I'm writing right now, it probably won't come out for a year or two as well. So it's kind of like I feel like the order in which songs are coming out, it's like backlogged. So it's coming out very post the era. And I've read about it a lot actually, how music, that's like a very common thing. That by the time the music comes out, the artist themselves isn't even an embodiment of that work anymore because they're just somewhere else already.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if that feels weird to put out a pretty vulnerable piece of yourself like a year after you actually felt that thing.
I think it's great. I mean, I think it does wonders for me because I get to be reflective. And it's like I wrote I'll Be at Your Altar at a very difficult part of my life, just emotionally and like who I was. And I just felt like I didn't have much to offer, not only my friends, but my romantic partners, my family. I just felt like I wasn't in a place to offer much. And I don't feel like that anymore. It's been such a long time and I feel like I've progressed so much as a person that, that song isn't really how I feel anymore, but it's a perfect like snapshot of how I felt at that specific moment. Like I remember writing that song.
It's kind of like a time capsule from back in the day when you're like, oh, yeah, I guess I really did feel that way because maybe now you've moved on and you've learned your things from it. But when you revisit it, it can kind of take you back to like why you were feeling those emotions in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it allows me to just think through it, and be like, wow, like I've really come a long way, and I like that, to be able to see my growth as a person. But since I'm documenting it and writing songs about it, it's easy to see, like, wow, like, I'm not there anymore.
I wanted to ask you about I'll Be at Your Altar. That's probably my favorite song on that EP. And I just love this one part, the switch up, like the beat switch up, like 2/3 of the way through.
Uh-huh.
And it got me wondering how you guys write these songs, like, especially as a band. Do you jam them out or do you write them yourself and bring them to the other guys?
Yeah, well, I construct skeletons. That's like my main role in the band, I would say. It's like I come up with the skeleton to the song and the chord progressions and the lyrics, and then I present it to the band, and then Dylan takes over in structuring the dynamics of it in terms of what a drummer does, where he brings the beat up and brings it down and then breaks it apart. So he takes over and does that aspect of it. And then Ran Ferry, like especially in this song, is a very noticeable trait that he has, because Ran Ferry came into playing bass for the band as like only ever being a guitar player before. So I feel like a lot of times he plays the bass kind of like you would play a guitar. So in that part that you're talking about, that I think you're talking about, the way that he plays the bass line, it kind of changes the vibe of the whole song when the bass does it alone.
Yeah, yeah. I guess maybe it is the bass. It's not the drums, or maybe it's a little bit of
So
both. But
it's a little bit of everything, because the whole song pulls back, but it presents a whole new rhythmic pattern that
yeah,
kind of like it pushes you back when you're already like in the forefront of the song. But the bass line, I would say, is like the part, because I remember like when he started playing that in practice, it was like, whoa, like, it really took that song to that point.
yeah. There's something gratifying about it. It's like rewarding you for staying in it this long. It's like, here's an extra little thing to take home with you. I
Yeah.
don't know. I also went down the rabbit hole, and I loved your cassette Nightfall cassette song. I
Wow.
thought that was really cool, and I've never recorded on a cassette before. What was that like?
I think it's magical, because we grew up in such a digital age that I feel like we forget how people started creating music, and the cassette itself was, it was a shrunken version of what they were doing in big studios, with the big tape reels. So they wanted to create a version that it was something that they could just give individuals and they could print on tape the way you would at a big studio, but way more like affordable and portable and stuff. So for me, I think it's been great, because it gives a texture to the music that you can't get if you just plug into a sound card and just start recording your stuff. There's a certain texture that's just natural that you can't replicate. Like, I'm not really doing anything other than running it through the cassette machine, and the cassette machine gives it this warmth and this texture that's just like nostalgic, and kind of takes the record and gives it a whole new embodiment that you can't get if it was just digital.
So is there anything going through the guitars? Is there any effects? Because it sounds so shimmery when I'm listening to it.
So should I reveal my?
You don't have to. You
I'm
don't
a
have
magician
to.
never reveals their tricks, but I
No,
kind
that's
of
fair.
but I also would love to explain how I did it, because it was a very interesting process. It was processed a lot. It went from I recorded it on my iPhone, the guitar alone, and like I recorded it on my iPhone. Then I plugged my iPhone into a cassette player, and I printed the guitar onto cassette. Then I took that recording out of the cassette back into Ableton, and then I laid the vocals over it. Then I ran the vocals through the cassette player, and then once I had the file completely done, I ran it again the final time through the cassette player, and then extracted that file and then turned that into the final version.
Dude, that's a lot. That's so sick.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like, it was the processing is the funnest part. And when I recorded that, I was really just recording. I just threw it away because I broke it. The cassette recorder I used to record that. It was a very basic one. And as of recently, I bought a more advanced tape recorder.
I was about to say, I saw you playing with one the other day.
Yeah, I bought a new tape recorder from the 90s, and it's like it has taken the possibilities, because like to a whole new level. Because now I can plug my guitar straight into the tape player,
Oh, okay.
plug the drum machine straight into the mixer, and run it through tape, record it on tape, record it on 4 channel.
So have you released any music with that yet, or you're working on it?
No, I'm working on it. I mean, I uploaded a video, I think yesterday or the day before, of me using it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Still piecing everything together. Like, I want to start like a small label, but not a label in which like I sign artists and like their music belongs to me. But I want to collaborate with artists and distribute their music on cassette, and kind of just take whatever demos artists are working on and turn them into files that can be distributed. Because I feel like as creatives we constrain ourselves with always wanting to deliver a final project. REP, like, it took so much work. Alter had to be recorded twice. It was like this, so it took so long before I could actually give that product to the audience or to people that would want to listen to music. But with this route that I want to take now, is like I want to create very interesting lo-fi demos so that you get the song when it was just recorded last week, or like you get to be more involved with the actual process instead of like, oh, this song is 2 years old. You hear the demo and then in 2 years or a year you'll hear the final and be like, dang, I remember when the demo dropped on cassette.
That's cool to make it. It's almost like a subscription thing where you're getting these songs like hot off the press, you know? And
Yeah.
it is cool to get a demo version of all of these songs because a lot of fans can really relate to the artist a little bit more on that extra
It's a lot
level.
more intimate.
Yeah.
With the stuff I've been recording, like it's filled with error. It's not gridded. It has a lot of stuff that usually you wouldn't want to show people, but that's the point of a demo. The demo is supposed to be, and like I've always loved having demos. I just never really share them, but I want to start to do that just because like seeing how long the process takes and having to go into the studio and like, this I can just I can do it back. So it's like my roots, like making it in my room with just I can tune out the world and not have to talk to no engineer. I just sit here and I do it and I don't have to answer to anybody.
Have you had this idea for a while or did it just come up?
It just came up. I was having a conversation with our engineer during the EP. I mean, like maybe like April or March, and he was talking about how like this whole COVID stuff is affecting music studios a lot in LA. That a lot of them are closing down because it's nearly impossible to make rent if you don't have anyone coming in to record. So I had this like revelation that lo-fi music was going to become prominent in the scene again, because it's going to force people to create from their home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's like the way the market moves. So if more people are releasing lo-fi music, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's fine. You have like this really perfect sounding record that you recorded at a studio and dropped a lot of money on, but what the kids are going to be consuming is going to be the stuff that people are going to just be creating in their bedrooms and have this like authentic, intimate texture again.
I think we're already seeing that with just the internet. Like people like from across the world can make songs in their bedrooms and suddenly it blows up on TikTok or something and now everyone's listening to it. And I wanted to ask you about the label stuff before you even brought it up because I was wondering what you would think about it in this world, especially post COVID where like everyone is in their homes and if you're a musician and you really want to play music nowadays, you're going to have this stuff in your house. And I think it's going to force a lot more people to get creative with it. And there's going to be so much more music out there in general.
Definitely. That's why right now my mission has been to like build this, what do I call it? I don't know, a studio. Because I've always had like a very good home studio, but ever since like I stopped making beats and started working with Sin Passion, and making like songs, it's all been studio based. I don't have to worry about I don't have to produce it. I go to a studio where the engineer has all the gear and we get it done. But right now I'm recreating a studio. Like I literally just bought a drum machine, just brought a synthesizer.
Nice. What kind?
I bought a bass station too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then the drum machine is just some random drum machine I found on OfferUp. That was a good price.
OfferUp's a great place for that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I buy everything on OfferUp if I'm being honest.
It's a smart move. So, do you have a studio space, or is it gonna be like your house?
Well, technically, it's here.
Right.
This room, and right now where you're set up is actually where the gear is. So like, I
Okay.
have my laptop where all the gear is. So, and I just like ordered a new table too for more like flexibility, like a long table. I've always wanted like a table where you can put all the gear, and because I feel like I have to constantly switch because I'm working on such a small workspace. But yeah, it's just gonna be here, and yeah, I have like ventures of like I wanna just open myself up to more things. Like I want to open up like a cassette distribution like company. I don't know. Like it's like if an artist is like, hey, I want to release some tapes. Like I want to be able to provide that service and just be like, like I have the gear to not just make your tapes if you don't want to record straight onto tape, or if you wanted to make something directly into the tape. I want to be able to do that too. I just feel like I'm reaching a point in my life where I'm branching out to more than just wanting to be like, just like a songwriter or a frontman to a band. Like I want to be a lot more hands-on and connect to the scene, and also it's like I'm a really hard critic, so it's kind of like I want to work with people that like I, personally feel a connection to their art. It's not like I take this too serious to just open it up to anyone who's just like using this as a hobby and just like taking it like, oh, I just want to get more popular through this music stuff. Where it's like this is like a lifestyle for a lot of us, and it's not just like a gimmick.
Yeah, so you mentioned you wanted to get more involved in the scene. You're the second Rancho Cucamonga artist I've had on here. Do you feel like there is something specific about Rancho and the music scene there that makes you that made you even think about this cassette distribution thing and this label in the first place? Because I went to one of your shows, actually a couple. I went to especially the house one where Christopher Carrillo played his first show, and it felt so intimate. It felt like everyone got together and it was a community and they wanted to support each other. So did that have an impact on your thought process for this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for starters, like I'm not really a Rancho artist, but like Rancho, like I'm from Pomona,
Okay, okay.
but I'm currently like I live in Glen Avon, like near Riverside right now. So, but Rancho has been like very important to Sin Fashion. We played our first show in Rancho. We collaborated with LOC a lot, with Juan from LOC, and he kind of was like, he helped us through our first show. He helped us organize like all of the first for Sin Fashion in terms of like playing the Fox Theater in the rooftop, like all that stuff. He was really crucial in helping us get involved in the scene. And it just so happened that like Rancho has a very good alternative music scene. Uh, so it's like we've dabbled there. We played Rowdies. We've done all of that.
Shout out to Rowdies, man. It's a great place.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm very grateful for Rancho and the scene, and just the people from Rancho too. I mean, I've seen like Twitter always likes to like talk shit on everyone, but I feel like the Rancho scene kids are like I think they're cool. Like the people who go to the shows, like the community itself is very like I've enjoyed it a lot from being involved in the scene and the people I've met. I've made some really cool friends just being in the scene in Rancho.
Yeah, everyone I've met has been, super nice, fantastic, and everybody's dedicated to. Everybody loves the scene, like the scene of Rancho, and they love all the bands, and everyone comes to support. And shout out to Juan at LOC Productions for putting on those kinds of shows, those DIY home shows. I think those are so important for getting people out and making those like ground connections with friends and making lifelong collaboration partners.
Yeah, I think maybe what the Rancho scene, I guess, does have something to do with kind of like me wanting to open myself up to this type of collaboration because I feel like I have met a lot of artists that like I think are very talented and would be interested in getting in a creative space with them and seeing where we can channel that creative energy and kind of take it to wherever that person wants to take it. Like
Well, I'm going to take us to the last five here, and I'm just going to ask you five quick questions, and then we'll be out of here, man.
cool.
All right, question one. What's your favorite live show you've played?
It's a two-way tie between like our 1 year anniversary show on the rooftop of the Fox Theater, 1 year of Sin. That show was pretty incredible.
On the rooftop?
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it was like over capacity. Like it was before the rooftop, like before the Fox started like regulating capacity at the rooftop. So we kind of overpacked it that night. And after that show, they put a very strict rule on how many people could be up there because like the fire marshal said the roof was caving or something.
Damn.
So I mean, in terms of just being realistic, like we had the biggest show at the rooftop because of that. Like we were able to
Yeah.
pack it out more than it should have been. That show tied with one of the last shows we played before. We couldn't play shows. We played at La Santa with iDress, but that show was great. Playing that show was cool. New audience, great sound. We played a very good set. Those would be
Nice, man. Yeah, roof almost caving in sounds like a pretty good standard for a great show.
yeah.
All right, man. Second question. Who's your dream artist to work with?
Oh wow, that's so hard.
You can name a few if you want.
Okay, I'm really into pop music, so like I would love to work with The Weeknd.
Ooh,
I feel like having The Weeknd do like harmonies in the back of a song, like I wouldn't even want a verse. I would just want him to be like just subtle in the back and just like let him do his stuff with his melodies. Band wise, I'd like to. Well, it's kind of with bands. It's kind of hard to like directly collaborate. But I feel like working with like bands like or touring with bands like Turnstile or like Show Me the Body, I feel like would be really cool for us. Just because both of those bands are different than us, but they embrace the diversity that lies within music. And then obviously like one of those like very far fetched goals, you got to have those. Like to work with Rick Rubin, like I would die. Like I mean, if Rick Rubin produced one of our albums, like I'd be set. I mean, be ready to die.
For real, that guy's a guru, like the ultimate music guru. Have you listened to any of his podcasts or the videos with all the artists and he talks to like Tyler and all them?
Yeah, I have seen it. He's just a very insightful
Hmm.
person. I would love to have that energy in the room when you're making music.
Yeah, he's so positive, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Just very soothing, almost like Bob Ross.
yeah, yeah.
Sick, man. Well, let's go to the third question here. What's your favorite piece of gear that you own?
I mean, I'm being biased because it's my newest piece of gear, but it's my new cassette recorder mixer thing.
Hey, you've been messing with it a lot.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's probably the best thing to happen to me musically in a while.
How much was it?
Well, the market right now for them is actually kind of crazy. So they're looking for like 400 plus right now.
Whoo.
Yeah, but like I got lucky and I got one from Japan, um, on eBay, and it's in mint condition, which is very weird because it's from the 90s. So like I'm looking at it. When I got it, it was like I'm pretty sure I'm the first one to ever use it.
Well,
Since Japan makes them, I'm figuring that they just had some in a warehouse and then just started selling them.
that's interesting. Huh. I really want to get a cassette player, but I can never find one.
Mm. Ooh, I just bought one on Amazon, a portable one. I'll send you the link. I have, you know, oh, if it works good, I'll let you know if it's worth it. But
Yeah, please. Like, give me a review. I need one. All right, man. Fourth question. Who are some underrated artists to you? I used to say favorite underrated artist, but everyone usually is like, oh my God, that's a little bit too hard to pick.
I don't like saying that someone's underrated because I feel like it does a disservice to like their artistic worth. Like popularity doesn't equal worth, you know. Like so, it's kind of hard to think, you know, to call someone like, oh, they're underrated, and it's like,
Yeah, I just think of it like underrated meaning underexposed. Like more people should know about them.
That's hard. I feel like my mind's so scattered because I've been doing schoolwork all day, and like I can't. I feel like it's a very narcissistic thing to say, and I really going to say it unapologetically, but I feel like we're underrated. I feel like we have potential. It's because we put all this work, but we kind of lack marketing and like distribution. So it's kind of hard for us to reach. Like the people who listen to our music have been listening to our music for a while. It's been really hard, especially now since COVID and we can't play shows, to get our music to new ears. There's more that we could do, but we kind of have to, you know, seek management or something.
Yeah, the business side of things is totally hard, honestly. Like we're so used to just working on, the art and that's enough for us, but then you have to like learn how to use social media the right way and what to do about how to promote your newest song the best way, but you don't want to sound like a douche, so you got to like figure out a way to do that.
I have a habit of just like posting once and then never saying anything about it ever
Yeah.
again. I was like, I
Yeah.
really music. It's it. Like either you listen to it or you don't. I'm not gonna beg you to listen to it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, man, I'll send you out with the last question here. In the studio or playing live?
I mean, they each have their own individual magic. I mean, in the studio, there is something magical of like when you feel that creative energy in the room with you, and you're just kind of expanding with it. But then there's a different type of magic at shows where you're feeding off the energy of your audience, whether good or bad. You know, whether they're totally not feeling it and they just think you're strange, or they're loving it and you just become this deity on stage. You know, so it's like each thing has its own magical. I would never. Like, if I had to pick between the two, I just wouldn't pick. I would just choose to not because they're both so important, I think, for different reasons.
That's one of my favorite questions because that is truly a 50-50 for everyone I've asked. It's probably been 50-50 if I had to like go back and look at everyone who answered. And I love being in the studio because of that magic of creating something new that you haven't done before. And you're like, it's like the the potential energy is crazy. You don't know what you're about to play.
And at the shows, you're just purging emotion. You know, I showed up to shows feeling absolutely terrible, and then the moment I step on stage, it all comes out. You know, and it shows in the way I play guitar really roughly. Like I tend to beat my guitar when I play it. Like people who have fixed my guitar have told me that I gotta learn to like not do that, but it's part of it. You know, it's like I'm gonna play with a softer hand, but like my hand's not feeling like playing soft, so I just play harder, and it's just like part of the purge that comes when you go play a show and you're releasing all these emotions that are built up that are not necessarily connected to the music. They're just your own personal, you know, existential moments that you might be going through.
And you're sharing that with an audience who's enjoying it with you, like
Exactly.
right now in this moment. Well, Sin Passion, thank you for coming on and talking with me. I really appreciate it. Stoked for any new music. If you got any coming out, if you want to talk about that before we go.
We're dropping the EP on 7-inch vinyl soon.
Nice.
We have like a collaboration coming out with Buck 50 soon as well. In terms of music, no answers yet. I mean, I don't really care.
We'll see. We'll see.
I mean, I started working on the album. It's just like I don't know when that will be done. I just know that the album is like in the oven, like you know the big album. But I'm gonna tuck that to whenever I feel comfortable. So I don't know when.
Right on. Well, I want to get me one of those 7 inches.
Yeah, I'll let you know. You'll see. They'll come out. And they're coming out like in a few colors too, which is gonna be cool.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That sounds great. All right, Sin Passion, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me.